Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom call today is Dr. Bill Hauter, state rep for part of DeWitt County. Dr. Hauter, good to see you, sir. How are you this morning?
Good morning. Waiting for the snow to start.
Hasn't started over there yet, huh?
No, it hasn't. Has it started for you?
No, it's not. And actually, you're a ways away. You've got a massive district, Dr. Hauter, with you're out of Morton, and yet somehow you come over all the way to DeWitt County. Tell me about your district to get us started today.
Well, the 87th district, it's a relatively new district. You know, they do redistricting every 10 years. I have a lot of Tazewell County. I'm from Morton. So the kind of the northwest part of the county, and then it goes all of Logan County. I get a little bit of Sangamon, a little bit of Macon, which is the northwest corner of Decatur area. Then go up and I get half of DeWitt, so I get the Clinton half of DeWitt, and then I have a little bit of the western part of McLean. And if you're interested, I have like 50 voters in Woodford County. So there you go.
Interesting.
It's a big one.
It is. I don't know how you guys manage it. I mean, I know I had Regan. I had Regan on the show Monday. When Chapin Rose was our rep, and then our senator. I had him on the show, and now he's got a big old district on the east side of the state. I don't know how you guys do it. I really don't.
Well,
it's impressive.
Yeah, it's they try to keep 118 state representatives, so they try to keep us all with about 110,000 constituents.
Okay.
So some of the districts up in Chicago are like literally like a village or two, or part of neighborhoods, and they can get 110,000 people in a very small amount of area. But of course, our districts down here are going to be really big to encompass 110,000 people.
Yeah, sure. Very good. Very good. Well, Now how long have you been in Springfield, Dr. Hauter?
So I was elected in 2022.
Okay.
In that election. So I just served my first term, was reelected last November. And so I'm in my second term.
Gotcha. How's it going? What are you learning about Springfield and the process of being a lawmaker?
Well, I'm a Republican, so I'm in the super minority. So we are small but mighty. That Lincoln said in a Cooper Union speech, and I've always said it. Right makes might, and we are right. So we have being right on our side. So that makes us powerful, as Lincoln said. Right makes might, and we are mighty indeed because we are right on so many issues. But it's been very frustrating. I mean, honestly, Seth, they have an agenda. And in my business, I'm a physician. And so I come from my whole career has been based on, evidence and outcomes and measured variables. And, if things don't work, you don't do them. Mm-hmm. And we see in Springfield, everything is based on feelings and narrative. And when things don't work, they get refunded. I mean, they get funded again. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And nothing ever, there's no truth. There's just their truth, and that's very, very hard to battle. So it's been frustrating, but it's been a great privilege. I'll tell you that.
So being just trying to connect the dots. Being a doctor in 2022, you got into Springfield. Was it COVID that prompted you to run for the legislature?
You hit it. Yep, you hit it right exactly on the head. I was in my life just going along, just complaining about the state that we're in. Of course, we're at home. I'm at home right now, Seth, so I'm sorry, but my dogs are starting to.
You're fine.
Whine in the background. I'm sorry if that's bothering people.
Going back to COVID, it doesn't bother me anymore, and I couldn't even hear him, so it's all good. You're good.
Yeah. So what I came to the conclusion, I either needed to contribute or just keep complaining. And so, I told my wife and so many of my friends and family, should I move out of this state? I'm so disgusted with the direction of the state. And so many of the people that are probably listening feel the same way. And so I decided to run for Tazewell County Board. And in 2020, I ran for Tazewell County Board. And when I was elected, COVID hit. And I saw the direction, the very, very, authoritarian, very divisive direction of the state with mandates and lockdowns and, not local control, but, coming down from on high. And I looked at the General Assembly, and there was not one physician in all of the General Assembly during a huge public health emergency. It was a bunch of politicians who wanted to gain power and control, and they wanted to use COVID. We quickly saw that it was all about power and control. And I'm in the healthcare, field looking at this and seeing there's not one medical professional in all of the General Assembly. That's not right. That's not right. That's not what the General Assembly was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
It was supposed to be a group of people that brought their perspective from their area. Their livelihood was in their communities, but they went down and represented their communities. I saw a bunch of, lawyers and activists and some business people and some farmers, but not one medical professional. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
that just was wrong to me. So I was really compelled to run and to bring my perspective to Springfield.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, that's quite the feat, because just what I know about Illinois politics, which isn't a great deal, but what I know is, you've really got to put in your time at the local level, and then kind of cut your teeth within the Republican Party itself, and it's really kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, now it's your turn. How did you overcome that? If you don't mind me asking, I feel like that's kind of a lot of inside baseball. But how about that?
Yeah, no, it's you hit it right on the head. I was not the chosen candidate for my district. It was a new district, and I was definitely not the chosen person. A lot of the Republican elites wanted someone else, and they funded that person heavily. But I had a great connection to my district. My friends, family. You mentioned earlier when we were talking off the air, I have family in Logan County that are physicians and have been taking care of Logan County people for years, decades. Drew Hauter, Marcia Hauter, both are physicians in Logan County. I have physicians, nephews, and that have taken care of people in Tazewell County, and I just had such a connection to so many friends and family around the area. I had run for Tazewell County board. And so I had that. I own land in hunting land in Hopedale. I went to school in Groveland. I mean, just all over the district, I had so many connections, and I don't think that they really understood that the amount of connections I had to the district, and having a good name is so powerful in politics. And people knew Hauter, and they knew that, Drew Hauter or Dean Hauter or Joe Hauter or Bill Hauter had taken care of their family and taken care of their medical issues and been there for them. And so that's just a powerful thing that allowed me to win in my seat, and here we are.
So you got into it because of COVID, and again, our guest on the phone this morning, Representative Bill Hauter, out of Morton, covers half of DeWitt County, as he mentioned with us here this morning. So you get into it because of COVID. Now we're kind of behind. COVID's kind of behind us, but the remnants of COVID are still present. I mean, you and I were talking before we got started about budget is coming up. Illinois faces a $2+ billion shortfall in the budget. I venture a guess a lot of that is because of the extravagance of which we spent the COVID money that we had, and now that's no more. So now we're having to deal with all of it. What have you seen? What are other maybe ripples of getting into politics because of COVID, and now we see the ramifications of it? What are you noticing, Dr. Hauter?
Well, I notice a lot of people that know how to spend other people's money, and they have no problem with spending other people's money, and they know how to build kingdoms for themselves using other people's money.
Mm-hmm.
And so they start programs, and they start different, benefits that are going to cost money, and they will always grow. Okay, so when Pritzker first was elected, I think the budget was around $32 billion for Illinois, and then in his short time, we're looking at a budget of 54 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And so that huge percentage growth in spending requires them to tax. And the one thing we know that we need to do is we need to keep and bring people to Illinois. It is so unbelievably important that we don't continue to lose population, and we continue to do that. Yet they deny that's even happening. But we're losing population. Why? Well, mostly because, and people are going to say weather. Well, we have the same weather as Indiana and Iowa, and they're not leaving those states, right? So it's because jobs, and because of the left liberal agenda and the taxes. So the high tax rate, we have some of the highest tax rates in the nation. That shouldn't be right. And what we need to do is we need to cut taxes, cut regulations, keep businesses in Illinois, and then people will stay in Illinois. They will stay because of jobs. And also we need more local control. There's a lot of areas, but specifically to the budget side, we do not have a income problem at all in Illinois, but we do have a spending problem. Last year, of course, we again raised taxes because we had a few new programs that they want to start, universal preschool or whatever. That sounds like a great politics, but terrible policy. And that's what we do in Illinois. We have things that sound great. Oh, we're going to get universal preschool, and this is going to be only, it's only going to be, $2 billion to do this, but it ends up being 5.4.
Right.
Things like that. So we have to cut spending. We have to find some way to reform our property taxes. We have the huge issue of the pension liabilities, the greatest pension liabilities in the nation. We have huge problems in Illinois, and they seem to center on these peripheral issues that to them are great politics, but they're not going to keep and bring people to Illinois.
And you hit on something there, Dr. Hauter, that I'd like you to expand on. For so often the GOP talking point in Illinois is, it's Mike Madigan's fault, and like he was the boogeyman, right? And now he's out of the picture. And what I think what the Republican Party has missed is that you have to emphasize the policy, like you were talking about there.
Yeah, I know he was kind of a foil for a while, but to be very frank with you, he was very corrupt, obviously, but he was a big machine, big government, union kind of guy, Democrat. What we have now is a Democrat that is focused on woke policies, their woke agenda, and has a very, very progressive agenda. And we have a governor that is going right along with them. So on one hand, Madigan ruled for a long time. He needed to go. Obviously, he was corrupt. But what we have now is something that Mike Madigan, believe it or not, kind of kept it, and kept at bay for a long time. And now we have unleashed the progressives on Illinois, and you can see just in Chicago what's happened with the crime and the ascension of the Chicago teachers unions that control that city, and that the increase in taxes and the immigration problem that's happened, that they've allowed to just fester, flourish. They've even welcomed it. If you can believe that, they've welcomed it, and that is going to be a huge part of the budget and a huge part of the fight down here that we're going to have all this spring.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dr. Hauter, on that note, let's take a break and come back and talk about those things.
Have I depressed you enough?
No. Hey, it's conversation that is not unfamiliar on this show. Very good. Dr. and the Representative Bill Hauter, our guest on the Zoom call today. More to come with him on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Wednesday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network. A steady start for corn, beans lower, and wheat steady. March corn opening 484.5. That's up half a penny. May corn 498.5, up half a penny. New crop December 471, up 3/4. March beans starting today 1036.25, down 7.25. May beans down 7. 1053.25. New crop November 1050. That's down 5.5. March Chicago wheat 577.75, up 3/4. May wheat up 1/4, 590.25. July wheat 601, That's down 3/4. March bean meal $2.95.20 down $1.40. March bean oil $45.91 down 22 cents. Looking at the opening numbers at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Wednesday morning. And I'm Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network.
It's time to celebrate winter. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. Yes, we have extra savings on all new Chevrolets this month to celebrate the winter season. See our inventory of Chevrolet Trailblazers, Blazers, and the all-new Chevy Trax. We also have a larger, redesigned 7-passenger Traverse and a good selection of 24 and 25 Tahoes. See our winter celebration savings at BaumChevyBuick.com. Right from the start.
If the flu's got you down, the Warner Hospital and Health Services Walk-In Clinic inside Family Medicine can help you feel better fast. CEO Paul Skowron inviting you to make us your backup plan to better health. Find out more by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom today, again, Dr. Bill Hauter, state rep here in part of DeWitt County. And Dr. Hauter, you left off our last segment there talking about really the battle that is to come in Springfield from the Republican side of things, and that is, budget shortfall and the agenda of the governor and Democrats in Illinois. So what is top of mind for you coming up here this next legislative cycle in Springfield?
Well, obviously, I have a lot of healthcare responsibilities. I'm spokesperson, which is if you put in, the federal Congress terms, ranking member is the minority leader on certain committees. Okay, so again, I'm the minority leader for 2 committees, public health and healthcare licensing. And those are 2 really important committees to healthcare, obviously, but they're so important to the people of Illinois. I just look at, again, I'm the first and only physician in the Illinois legislature for over 30 years. And so I just see so many issues that are so important to people in their lives, which are, patient safety, how healthcare is paid for. So I'm on the insurance committee as well. And then, different issues like, scope of practice and hospitals and how they man and staff. We have a severe, staffing shortage in healthcare with all kinds of professionals. So healthcare licensing is important, that we license these in a important, quick manner, that we license people from other states, because medicine has become such a mobile profession. We have so many people that are traveling, and I know that's important that Warner, that they get staffing out there in Clinton. It's important that I'm sure they have a lot of what we call locums or temporary workers and temporary nurses, and so these are things that are kind of minutia and not that exciting of topics, but they're really important that we to healthcare in general, and so therefore they're important to people.
Sure. Well, let's talk budget a little bit, because here in a week or so, the governor is going to do a joint state of the state budget address.
Yep.
One, what do you expect to hear from the governor, and what should his priorities be from your perspective?
Okay. Well,
kind of a loaded question, I know.
Yeah, I expect a lot of crowing about how great they are, and if you can believe this, they think they're doing a great job. And we've heard things in the past, like other states look at Illinois to see how they can duplicate our success. So you see that we're battling untruth. We're battling not reality. And that's really hard to fight that, because again, it's their truth. They think they're doing a great job. Because guys like Pritzker, Governor Pritzker have been his whole life. He's been told he does a great job, from every chauffeur to every nanny. He's been told that he's a good boy and that he's doing great. And so he doesn't know any different. I'm sure he has a lot of paid staff that tell him how great he's doing. Illinois is so great that he thinks he can be president of the United States, if you can believe that. So we're gonna hear a lot about how great they're doing and how great Illinois is. One of the things they love to bring up, Seth, is they've had 8 or 9, I forget, credit upgrades. And they just talk about all their credit upgrades, and Illinois is moving up. So what we've done is we've gone from last to still last. Okay, so we're still last, but we've had 8 credit upgrades, and they mention that part all the time. So we're going to hear a lot about that. But I can tell him right now where he can find $1 billion or more. We never know. Is one thing: immigrant health care, immigrant lodging, immigrant boarding, and safety, and even schooling. We have an opportunity now to follow the law. We have a new administration in Washington who's going to enforce the law for the first time in many years. And what are they doing? Instead of taking the opportunity to save Illinoisans a lot of money and follow the law, they're going to do the exact opposite of that. And that is extremely frustrating. And I just find it despicable that they would put criminals in front of Illinoisans, not even citizens of our country, not even citizens of our state. So Illinoisans go to the back of the line while we house, feed, and give really golden health care to non-citizens, and some of them criminals. It's one of the more frustrating things to me, because it's so obvious, and to spend billions of the Illinoisans' money, and to see, I get complaints all the time in my office. Help us with our Medicare bill, or I'm sorry, our Medicaid bill. Help us with this program in Illinois. We need help for our foster children. So many things, but we're spending the money on people that aren't even Illinoisans. It's beyond the pale to me.
My biggest question is, we know this shortfall is coming. I mean, his office has said as much. Where do we make that up? How do we make that up?
There's so much. Well, we see with Doge, how much waste, fraud, and abuse is there in Illinois? I mean, there's probably billions right there, and then I can save them another probably billion or more a year by just following the law and not becoming a sanctuary state. And we're a bloated, bloated state, but of course he's probably gonna have another program that he's going to introduce that will need to be funded. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, so then does he propose taxes or pretend like money grows on trees? I don't know. How do you do that? How do you make the circle fit the square?
Yeah, well, he started off saying, there's no need for more taxes, but then Governor Pritzker, his latest statements have left the door open to more taxes. Okay. He's going to have a lot of problems, even in his own caucus. Last session, they raised taxes by $1 billion, and it just barely passed. In fact, they had to suspend the rules out. They had to suspend the rules of debate and the rules of voting because it failed twice.
Yeah.
And so they suspended the rules and got it passed, but they're going to have their own problems if they try to raise taxes.
Dr. Hauter, hate to do this to you, my friend. I got to let you go. Dr. Bill Hauter, state rep, our guest on the Zoom call. Network News comes your way now on the morning show.
Thank you.